Today's video, we're going to talk about a common trait that I've seen in beginners who seem to always get this component wrong about finding products and building their brand for the very first time doing dropshipping and e-com. Now, you've probably heard of the idea of the elevator pitch before. An elevator pitch is where you've got 30 to 60 seconds, basically going up in an elevator, to explain to the other person about your business, yourself, what you do. Essentially, you've got 30, 60 seconds to sell yourself. So your elevator pitch needs to be very, very short. However, when it comes to e-com, you don't get 30 to 60 seconds. You get like 10 to 15 because with attention spans, how they are these days, with short form content, all of that, you basically can't push absolutely everything about your product because a lot of the time beginners, they find these products they think are going to sell very well. They might be trending products and they might sell well. However, they overcomplicate and over explain the product. When you're first starting dropshipping and e-com, you need to find a product that has 5 words. And we're going to use a real world example to break this down. So I'm going to show you how to essentially build your e-com elevator pitch. So this here is a golf rangefinder. In our previous videos, we talked about building an edge and using hobbies, passions, jobs, anything essentially to build an edge that is unique to you. Now, I used golf as an example, so we'll go back to that example. So golf rangefinder, right? And this is why it's so important to sell products at the very start that align with your edge and building custom edges, because you can talk about a product and sell a product better than someone who doesn't know that industry or niche, okay? So we've got our golf rangefinder here, right? The idea is we need to sell this product in 5 words, okay? So how do we do that? What's the core utility straight away of this product, right? It tells the distance to the flag. Okay? That is your simple 5-word explanation. Imagine you're in an elevator, you say, I sell a rangefinder that tells the distance to the flag. Okay? That's your core 5 words that you're using to sell this product. Now, once you've added the product to your website, you can build the PDP, basically the product page, around this 5-letter key concept. Now, this is why it's super important to sell products and create edges that are unique to you. Because, for example, if I'm looking at this, I don't personally play golf. However, I know that people care about their distance, their accuracy, and no matter what you're selling, at the end of the day, people always care about the bottom line, so the cost. How much is this device going to cost me, and how much of an improvement is it going to have on my golf game? Okay, so we start with our 5 core words. From there, we can build out angles and hooks which are related to your unique selling points, landing pages, Facebook meta ads, all of that essentially. So your 5 core words, you start there. Then we go into building another 5 words. So distance, right? How far can this device go? Let's say 2,000 meter distance. Okay? 2,000 meter distance range, 2 kilometers. Obviously that's crazy for a golf rangefinder, but just an example. So we start with our 5 core and then we add on the 5 additional words that can help sell it. Now, this is, as I said, it's important that you sell products in your edge. So anyone who plays golf knows that accuracy is super, super important. So another 5 words that you could do is 10 centimeter accuracy to the flag. Okay? That's your other 5 words. So when you're looking at products, you need to think of it like this, right? Imagine you're in an elevator and I'm trying to sell this rangefinder. How do I sell the rangefinder? Imagine there's someone standing next to me. I've got my 5 words. This product tells the distance to the flag, right? If they're a golf expert or golf enthusiast, they're going to ask, okay, how accurate is it? And you go, 10 centimeters accuracy, like 10 centimeters, simple. You're explaining a pretty complicated product very easily, because at the end of the day, you need to know your product demographic and your ideal customer demographic. So even cost, right? Golf is an expensive hobby, which is why it's a great product to start with if you know golf. Golf, right? These rangefinders, what, $500, let's say? Another 5 words, $100 cheaper than competitors, okay? Again, under 5 words to sell it. Back to the elevator. Talking to a guy. I sell golf rangefinders. They tell the distance to the flag. They're $100 cheaper than the competitors. So when you're building out your product range, you want to try and add products at the very, very start that you can explain in 5 words. Because as I said, I've seen a lot of beginners try to add all these complicated products. And at the end of the day, at the very start, when you don't know what you're doing, the easiest thing is to sell an easy product. That's why selling an evergreen niche or a niche that you fully understand will always, always do better than trying to sell a product you don't understand. I know nothing about golf. I can't sell this product. As someone who's been in the marketing and agency world for a while, obviously I can build these USPs, like I've told you about distance, accuracy, and cost, but I don't live and breathe golf. If you do, this is a massive competitive edge selling this golf rangefinder instead of a product you don't know anything about. So the key takeaway from this is you get 5 words, 5 core words that can explain a product. Then you talk about your USPs or product benefits or attributes that align with your key demographic. Obviously, as I said, if it's in your niche, you're going to do better. People in the golf space care about accuracy, distance, how many strokes they have, the cost, all of those type of things. So you can build out these additional 5 secondary words, if you want to call it, that really push the product. Because if you can describe and sell your product in 10 words, then your conversion rate will still be pretty high because people aren't going to scroll through the website trying to figure out exactly what this product does. If you can explain it in under 10 words, then you're beating the competitors 9 times out of 10 because they overcomplicate it. It's convoluted. And at the end of the day, conversion and customer sentiment at the moment is really based on impulse and low attention spans. So when you're building your product page, you can't have too much information on it because people aren't going to read it all. They skim, they scroll. So you want it to be super easy to understand the product that you're actually selling. So the key takeaway, sell something simple, sell something you know, and then you can add on more complicated products as you grow and horizontally scale. So if you guys have any questions, leave a comment below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.